All right. Welcome everyone to tonight's session. My name is Nazrin, and I am going to share with you something on along a topic of accelerated learning. And the reason I'm doing this is I'm not an expert, but I just finished a hang on, I need to be very clear. Sham, remind me, we are not certified, but it is a certificate in accelerated learning practice, right?
Yes,
So
correct.
technically, in this particular workshop that we attended a 3-day workshop. It is called certificate in accelerated learning practice. So for 3 days, we learned, but there was no project, there was no homework, there was no exam for us to take. So at the most, we can say we practice accelerated learning. That's it. We cannot call ourselves certified practitioners, not yet. That comes at a later session, which is a lot longer. I think it's 10
Thì
days, 10 days or 12
ngày
days.
chán
I'm
thì
not
em
sure.
đó ngày chán phải
Um,
về mà
who's that? Okay, I'm gonna have to mute. Yeah, here we go. So I hope you've caught that a little bit. I'm gonna share, of course, slides just so we have something. And as an introduction, just to recap that, hang on a sec. Sharing the wrong screen again. Yay! After so many years, still doing this wrong. Okay, so welcome again to the session. The history of this is last weekend. Sham and I, Sham, where are you? Hi, say hi. Sham and I, we attended a 3-day workshop with a company called Neo1 Accelerated Learning Center. And the 3 days were called the CALP, Certificate in Accelerated Learning Practice. And in that 3 days, we learned only a couple of things. Very, I would say, by definition, only maybe 2 or 3 models and theories and frameworks, but it was enough to last 3 days. So only when we intend to further our studies will we deep dive a lot more. Okay, so everyone's saying hello in the comments. Okay, so first off, what is accelerated learning? I want to share that if you are a professional learning facilitator and you have studied the Take Charge Learning Facilitator System founded by Muhammad Rizal Hassan, whether in Malaysia or in Cambodia, you're going to find a lot of similarities. You're going to find a lot of overlaps. And in fact, over those 3 days, as a PLF myself, I felt validated. I felt validated because, all this time I've been doing this stuff. It aligns a lot with what we as PLFs do. For those of you who are not PLFs, don't worry, you're not missing out yet. But I do recommend that you find a way to get certified or at least learn. And the challenge with accelerated learning is it's very difficult to learn from reading because I read a lot about AL a long time ago and I just kept reading. But it was only when I'm in the workshop that I realized, oh, okay, this is how it actually impacts you as a person, as a human being, as a learner. And I'm going to say, I disagree with the name accelerated learning because I thought, oh, you learn very fast. But actually, what happens is your thought processes actually slow down and you start thinking and you start connecting your learning to what you have in the past. And I know that you're going to say, oh, okay, we do that in training anyway. But I will say I've not experienced this as deeply as before. Okay, so you and I, all of you, I know that you have a lot of experience in training. I have a lot of experience in training as well. But I really enjoyed myself in accelerated learning because not a single slide was used over those 3 days, and I thought that was impossible, right? Not a single slide was used. We had handouts, we had work to be done, we had flip charts that we worked on, but not a single slide. So, um, as I exited Sunday, which was the last day of the workshop, Monday, Tuesday, I was running a program, no, let's call it a course called Dream for one of my clients called Accenture. And I had like 50 slides for 2 days. I think in those 2 days, I used 5 slides max, right? So what happened to all the other slides? They became part and parcel of the work that they did. But of course, I had to use a lot of flip chart. So if you are very ESG oriented, you might you might balk a little bit at this. However, the idea is you use whatever you can. And I'm not going to say that AL always results in no slides. I'm not going to say that. I will say that when you redesign it to become more activity oriented, you will lecture less, you will talk less, and there will be more deep impact activities. However, if you are not a facilitator, you have never facilitated discussions, you don't know how to guide team discussions, you might find this a bit challenging. So that being said, I give you warning up front, yeah? So what what is the definition of AL? If you ask, according to Yasmin, my teacher, if you ask different practitioners, they might give you different definitions. But at the most basic, it is a framework. And you look at the words here, this is the definition she gave us. It's not a systematic framework, it's a systemic framework, something that attacks the learner from as many different angles as possible. If you look at the PLF way of looking at this, it's a holistic and comprehensive using of different senses to be able to get input into the learner, right? So AL agrees with that in that it's holistic, it's intentional. Every single activity you design must have a function, must have a reason. And we agree with this in that even when we do energizers, there's no such thing as an energizer just for fun, right? You've basically wasted an opportunity for getting people to learn. So it has to be holistic, intentional, and learner centric. In as much as sometimes a trainer is very trainer centric, we all want to aim for what changes the participant, what changes the learner after they leave. So that means that there's a lot of deep psychology here that by the time they leave your class, they're still thinking, they're still running in their background. Sometimes they will dream about it. I will tell you this. After day one, I went home and that night I fell asleep. I dreamt of accelerated learning, which is terrible. Okay, so before I proceed, Sham and Alex and Dr. Khairul, would you like to add on anything from your understanding of what is AL?
You're
If I
on
don't,
point.
yes,
Yeah,
please.
exactly what it is.
On point. Okay,
Mhm.
Sham.
I think that thing that impact me a lot is the how do I say that in the intention that is put in the activities, and there's no fluff, as in it really hits whatever you want the learner to learn, really learner centric, and there's no like a lot of theories or a lot of fluff and things like that that will affect your learning. So that what really impact on me.
So in PLF language, it's called must know lah. You focus only on the must know, and then you leave aside the good to know and the nice to know, which means that you can no longer tell the story of how you become a trainer, your 20-year experience in work, introducing yourself like that. Um, uh, that's going to fall away. That's going to be designed out. Alex,
I think
being a
there's
senior
a
in
word that we used in AL, we call it impact by design.
Yep.
So which means like it's a way of thinking and designing your everything that you do step by step, the kind of questions that you ask, the experience that you want people to come in from before they step into the classroom until the very end when you walk out. It's like an experience in terms of the change that you want the participants to go through. So it's a way of thinking everything. So when you talk about a cycle, when you do, for example, HRDC's TTT, they do it in a way where the cycle means 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. or day one and then day two. Accelerated learning is very different. It's not even like module by module, but it's almost like there's a cycle that goes through where it's like a thought process. So it's a little bit different in terms of the way you think of designing your curriculum and activities and impact versus what is taught in TTT. Okay, just gonna tell you that much.
Thank you. Dr. Khairul? Dr. Khairul is our senior.
No, I don't use the senior. Yeah, yeah. Actually, the other word I would use is deliberate. When you plan, you design your lessons, you're very deliberate that you know what you're going to do step by step each hour. So it's not like see what happens kind of thing. Very deliberate in that sense when designing it.
All right. Thank you very much. Major Prabha has this book, I suspect. The Accelerated Learning Handbook. See, you brought it along. You know that book, Sham, how much? Like $200 on.
Almost 200. The one I found cheapest was 194 with the delivery charges.
Okay, I know where to find it now. It's in Lumut. It's in
Okay.
someone's house in Lumut. Major Prabha, you are an avid reader. You studied. I suspect you know more than about this than you're letting on. Would you like to share what you know about AL? Muted, Major. You're muted, Major.
Minta maaf. I'm excited with the word learning here because so much teaching will be happening. But what's really happening to the learner's mind? Because I'm always curious about, we learn our mother tongue by 4 or 5 years old without going to school. And then like me, Tamil, yeah. And then I start speaking English from Darjah 1 sampai Form 5. Up to now, still kelangkabut with English. Though PhD holders teaching you, yeah. Whereas my mother is a primary school, or my grandmother didn't go to school. So I'm always very curious. Are we teaching and killing learning, or are we facilitating learning? So whenever there's an opportunity to explore learning, I start realizing how much I don't know. So that gives me excitement.
Thank you. I appreciate that very much. So I'm going to share my favorite handout of what feeds into AL. And it's ridiculous because just like, if you think of things like neuro-linguistic programming coming together from many different disciplines, then you look at AL. AL is pretty much the same. And it keeps going, though. It keeps getting updated from year to year as new information, new science comes in. So there's a lot of words here I don't understand myself, but I underlined in red the stuff that I have already explored. Not that I'm good at it, but that I explored, and I started to underline in green what I want to start looking into. So you see, here's the thing, eh? I was busy underlining, but then because accelerated learning is so fast, we had moved on to another topic by the time I underlined to green. Yasmin said, okay, we're doing something else now. So I never actually got to underline all the other stuff. If I would look at learning technology, game-based learning, process facilitation, guided imagery. I like that. Mindfulness. There's a lot of stuff here that's, what's the word? If you want to learn it theoretically, then you just go through the process, you go through the certification. But then after the certification, start looking into all of these as well. See what you can add on, what you can put in. And because of that, we have found, according to our teachers, that there is a couple of schools of thought, not very much different, but there are a couple of schools of thought in AL, which means that if you study from one, you might find it different from somebody else because their focus is different. And as Yasmin says, if the practitioner's focus is NLP, for example, then you'll see their AL is very NLP flavored. If their practice is more mindfulness, then you'll see their AL is more mindfulness. There's a lot of using tone of voice, using imagery, things like that. So I will say that it looks like we've started is a never-ending process to learn. Tonight we will be sharing at a very high level, because we also got high level, but I hope it gives you the impetus to want to study more. So in terms of the history, I was quite surprised. The history of accelerated learning actually comes from a researcher by the name of Dr. Georgi Lozanov, if I'm pronouncing his name correctly. He's a Bulgarian doctor and psychotherapist who founded a methodology called Suggestopedia in 1966. And from this Suggestopedia, this methodology, in 1978, UNESCO decided, hey, this is good enough to spread across the world, and then be able to standardize it, research more. And in Germany, they set up this international alliance in 2001 for accelerated learning, but they call it International Alliance for Learning. And then it got faster and faster. We now have the International Association of AL Practitioners. Now, I don't want to bother you. There's been some changes here and there, different associations. We just focus on what happened to Malaysia. So in Malaysia, this is the community of AL practitioners. So if you want to know furthermore, in terms of the history, there's a lot out there that doesn't jive with each other. I will leave you with that. Okay, so I want to focus on the method itself. So, Sham, would you like to talk about the AL pillars? Or did I just put you on the spot?
Favorite trick. Yeah.
Okay,
Yes.
so I'll
Okay,
kick it off
before
by
that,
saying,
before that, we go into the pillar. Sorry, there was
yes.
somebody.
Let me introduce you guys to Sham. Sham was my classmate, and both of our minds blew up when we were there. And the first thing we learned, I think, was to be able to identify different pillars that hold up AL, which means that if you use these pillars, you practice these pillars, then your session will be an AL session. So I'm going to pass to Sham.
Actually, before we actually went into this, the activity we were asked to do is to think of the elements that comes into when we run a session. What are the elements that we need to think of from beginning to end, or even after the session? And that was the activity that brought us to think. And then after that, our Sifu actually kind of put them into what she called pillars. Okay, so FAB. These are all 9 pillars here. Is it 9? Yeah, 9 pillars.
It's 9.
Yeah.
So what Sham just said is actually what before she taught us Fable Trip, and this is what Bijay Prabha was talking about. Before Yasmin, our teacher, taught us Fable Trip, she got us to brainstorm what do you think are elements of good learning, and we came up with all sorts of stuff lah. and that allowed us to fully be prepared to accept whatever she's going to give us. So when she gave us Fable Trip, everything just matched because we go, see, we thought about it here, we thought about it there, we thought about it there. So all those different elements collapsed into these 9 pillars, which is easy to remember because the letters are FABLETRIP. Okay, so Sham, would you like to talk about the first one?
The first pillar, facilitator, which is basically the all of us here. Okay, what role do we play in the session to ensure that AL takes place? Besides, I mean, we are not, I think the major change here is we are not going to be lecturing. We are facilitating learning. So how does AL fits in? Like your process, your like what Nasri said earlier, that we're not going to talk about our 20 years training as an experience, but the role we play is to facilitate what is important to the learner for their personal growth. So it's not just what we know. So even in applying AL, the facilitator can be facilitating learning even though you don't know everything. Okay, even it's a subject that you are not like expert in. So the role of the facilitator in that sense is very important when it comes to AL. So this is the one pillar that is based on the facilitator. Anything you want to add, Nasri?
So
the rest?
the reason why not instructor, why not teacher, why not anything else is because you're guiding them through the process of learning. And accelerated learning really focuses on getting you to buy in. I cannot make you believe something, but if I walk you through it and then you learn it for yourself, it is easier for you to actually accept that fact. right? So we cannot force information onto people. People have to pick it up themselves, and that's what a facilitator does, guide them through the process. And I noticed that no facilitators they step away and they let the team brainwash each other, though. So the
Mm.
the teammates are discussing, "Oh, yeah, but facilitator like this, they're actually brainwashing themselves. And that's easier when peers do it.
Yeah, so we are
This
discovering ourselves in
Yeah.
during the whole process.
The second one is my favorite. It's art and crafts or art culture.
Culture.
You have to draw, right? So apparently in an AL session, if there's no markers, no crayons, no colored paper, nothing for you to be artistic in, it's not an AL session. Because it's for every input there must be an output, yeah. So the learning happens when you learn something and then you put it on paper with full color. I think Sham, I can't remember whether Yasmin told us to draw or we were inspired to draw because she already had drawings on the walls. I think it was more inspiration rather than she told us. I can't remember.
Yeah, I mean, for this activity, we didn't really do, but we were like discussing and pick up key points on how art and culture actually play a role in AL learning and how we can actually get the learners to, that means whatever we put in has to support that art and culture, like music, what kind of music that we can incorporate into the learning session. Yeah, and of course to get the learners to draw, to visualize rather
Yeah.
than just using text. Mm.
Okay. And the third one is belief and mindset shift. So if you go for an AL session and you don't come out having a change in what you believe before that, or you change in your mindset, then it's not an AL session. I would ask, I'll share mine, but I want to ask Sham first. Any beliefs on mindset shifts from your side?
I remember the word trust the process. Trust the process. Whatever you're going through, it will work in terms of if you have self-limiting beliefs or things like that. Once you go through, it will shift. So you just have to trust the process that it will work, and the learners are empowered to change their beliefs in certain things after the process, after the session.
Okay. Alex and Dr. K, we would love your input so far on this. Is this something familiar or is this something slightly different for you?
Yes,
No, it's consistent.
it's the same.
Go ahead.
Okay. Would you like to share anything that we've missed out or anything to help people understand?
I'm sorry, I'm not clear about your art culture. Could you explain again about that?
Oh, well, no problem at all.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
I want to find something for you. It's let's see if I can find it, yeah. Give me a second to answer that question.
It's also about challenging our own assumptions sometimes, our beliefs in certain things.
Yeah. Okay. So, Soka, do you see this?
Okay.
Does that answer your question?
Okay, I got it.
You're basically you are spending the whole day with colored markers, and if I had my way, clay, plasticine, you would be doing things with that takes you back to your childhood, because when you do corporate training, it's always with a black marker or blue marker, right? And everything is just written in sequence, bullet points.
Yes,
We were not allowed to do
right.
that. We had to draw stuff.
So one of the point that I took note was that this is the place like a kindergarten for adults.
Yes,
So
yes.
you allow the creativity to help you to do the shift of the mindset.
I remember Juara saying that. Juara said that one of his clients walked into the classroom, and the classroom was already, so the classroom is the offices of the client itself. But when Yasmin and Juara, the trainers came in, they put on the walls posters, they put tablecloth. Can you imagine you come in for corporate training and there's tablecloth on the table? And I'm not talking dinner tablecloth. This is beautiful colored tablecloth. And when I think the general manager of that company walked into the training room, he said, "I like this. This is like a kindergarten for adults."
Yeah.
Right? I want to share with you some more. This is the first thing we saw when we came into our classroom, right? And it is a way to visualize how we are going to learn from day one all the way until day 3. The yellow pieces of paper there, those are the learning objectives. So if you have 6 learning objectives for 2 days, then you have to put those learning objectives. And the best part is it was empty when we came in. As we talked, as we interacted, Yasmin started putting these up one by one. And then we also had to add on some more stuff to this. We had to add on things like friends of learning and enemies of learning. So what is an enemy of learning? We write down shy to ask questions. Put it on a post-it note, paste it there. So does that answer your question, Soka? Does that answer your question? Your question about art culture.
Yes, I'm clear about that. Okay, thank you.
Okay,
So
cool.
can I just add a
Yes,
sentence?
please.
Through this session, the facilitator must look out for limiting beliefs and create opportunities for learners to shift. So by doing that, the river and that creating that image actually helps us to shift. Instead of coming to a training room that is just the normal projector and slides and things like that. So the facilitator has to look out to see what will limit beliefs and how what can the facilitator do to help to shift that limiting beliefs or to create the opportunities for them to shift.
Agreed. I want to show, because the question was there, right? I want to show what we did. Hang on a sec. Is this ours? This is ours. Okay. Just because I want to show off. So this is the kind of stuff we did. And I know that if you say, "Oh, I've been to training that does this as well," I would say yes. However, we did a lot of this in those 3 days. I think I brought the flip charts all home. I think we have about 6 per team. And there are stuff that we didn't bring back as well. I selected the ones that I wanted to bring back.
So it means that the learner need to do the flip chart to draw everything by themselves. So in the class it take time.
Yes, it does. But that's the learning time. It's the learning time that is taken. And it is when that's happening, the facilitator also goes around and adds on.
Same.
Cool?
Yes, that interesting.
All right. Okay, so Dr. K, Alex, just pop in anytime, please, yeah? Okay, let's come back to this.
I can send you some of my pictures as well if you want. Then you can flash them.
That'll be fun. So then we have the learner-centric, which is, everybody says they're learner-centric until the trainer starts talking about himself lah. Yeah, so this is, you can see that everything is designed really around what the learner needs. And the idea is understanding learner psychology, understanding different learning styles, understanding that some people need visual, auditory, or kinesthetic input. All right. So I'm sorry, Sham, I took that one because that was my favorite one. But then we have energy management. This one, would you like to talk about this?
Energy is I just read from a note that I have sustaining learning stage. sustaining learning stage. So it's beyond the giving out of information. It's how we manage the energy in the class and their engagement. So I think one of the things that was brought up was the wipes. You remember what was the wipes?
The what?
Wipes.
Oh, vibes. Yeah, vibes.
Yeah.
So this is Gen Z language, yeah. So understanding where the energy in the class is at any one time, and then how do you manage that? So if people are falling asleep or people are not understanding or something like that, I think that's more tiring for a facilitator versus a trainer. Like a traditional trainer, you just teach and just go on and on and on. But a facilitator has to watch the energy in the room, have to watch people's faces. For me, that's something I like to do. So it's tiring. At the end of the day, you go back and sleep, but I like it very, very much. And I think a lot of good facilitators I've met, a lot of them are in this room right now. They do this as well. We read the energy of the room and then we respond. This one, I do not have much to say, unless Alex or Dr. Kade or Sham already has something. This is quite a new pillar, I suspect. But back when AI didn't exist, this was just Google Classroom or Kahoot and stuff like that. So now we have AI. There's a lot more possibility. We did not deep dive into this so much, so I'll open it up to my friends. Anybody want to talk about this?
Basically, is for facilitators to embrace technology in the session, to be the enabler. Of course, the type of technology depends on the session itself, like whether you want to use AI powered tools or some of the technology that was mentioned, like AI, VR, or AR, and the other one is the micro learning, bites learning, micro bites learning, and whether you want to apply social learning social media platforms and things. So it's embracing the technology in helping to create the AL session more effective. So actually, I think it depends on the session whether you actually really need this or not. May not be really necessary.
I was under an impression to say, I was wondering why this is a pillar, because a pillar is supposed to hold up AL, right? If you take it away, it'll all fall. But no, apparently you don't have to include everything in FableTrip. Not everything is necessary, but you design around it. So I'm looking forward to see how else we can use technology in this. Oh, Alex is typing stuff.
Yeah, I suppose it depends on the audience, as in if they are very AI focused or very the younger generation, then maybe technology will help to facilitate the energy level or the learning session of the class.
Okay, so guys, check in the chat. Alex has been kind enough to share with us some of her photos of what that session looks like. And I dare say, I mean, the more involved your learner is, the less slides you'll need, the more they co-create. So the key word here is co-creation of the meaning. The content is what the learner brings. Okay, so Soka says, you spend all time just doing all that. Yeah. So the content is created by the learner. The context, right? Context, which is the meaning, is brought by the facilitator to make sure that they don't run off and do something that's not related to the session. All right. So guys, if you have questions, just stop us anytime. Like Soka was nice enough to do that. Okay, last set is review strategy. This is, I would say, very important. And as if you are a PLF, you know that this is non-negotiable. You must debrief after every activity. You must debrief after every energizer. However, in AL, it's built in everywhere. Everywhere you have very intellectual debriefs. You have very emotional debriefs, which Juwita will know very well. She does a lot of those. There's also a lot of discussions where we try to discover what is right, what is wrong, before the facilitator tells us, okay, this is what the theory or the framework says. Okay, so why do we do reviews? because that's how we get the learners involved, and that's how they don't fall asleep, right? Sham, your own experience? This is non-negotiable. It has to be there.
Yeah. And I think it helps us to pause and review, pause and try to synthesize or reflect back what we have done, instead of just accepting. Yeah, which
All
is
right.
pretty important.
So would you like to talk about interactivity? Because I was a lousy student. I don't remember what this one was.
We are encouraged to interact with each other, and there is a collective intelligence in the class that we need to tap on, something like that.
Oh, yes, I remember now. So the collective intelligence is we alone are smart, but we together, we're like brain cells that connect. And those discussions, those deep discussions, we actually learn from each other. And even the facilitator learns from the learners as well.
Yeah.
And last but not least is this one, die must have. However, it is a professional playfulness when you're working within the workplace. And there have been a lot of stories shared by Juara and Yasmin, our teachers, that, very serious professionals, when they come in, after they do a lot of the first activities, they become quite authentic. So there have been people who say, I've never seen this boss smile before. In this workshop, I seen him smile. Why? Because it deep dives all the way to the emotions. So again, if you are a PLF, a lot of this stuff you say, hey, I've seen this before. I have been a PLF since 2011, and I say, yes, I see similarities. However, it is very powerful. And if you are already a PLF, this is a must-have. You must continue your studies in accelerated learning. Just in case you were thinking it, I'm not getting a commission from Yasmin and stuff like that. Whenever I come across something that's very useful for my community, my friends, I want you guys to try it out. And I'll say it, reading from a book doesn't really do it as much. Okay.
Yeah.
So there is a lot you can self-learn, but I would recommend that you go for a workshop.
To add to playfulness is something you mentioned just now, that you do not play for the fun or the joy of playing, but there has to be really a relationship, a relation between whatever you're playing and your debrief after that, to bring
Yes.
it back to the contents.
Definitely. And if anybody is still wondering, well, when you play, that's when you explore, that's when you're curious, you're not judgmental. When you play, you don't have a lot of stress, and that's when the learning actually goes in. So it's not about right or wrong answers, it's about exploring the learning. And only play the idea of playfulness, the concept of playfulness can help you do that. All right. So that's the end of the pillars. What questions do you have? Please ask us now. If we don't have the answer, we apologize upfront.
Actually, I have an answer about the review the strategy. Why we use the term strategy? Because the strategies mean like the way how to get something. Why we use the term review strategy in here?
That's exactly that. We
It's
want to be able to extract learning from the learners. So the word review strategy means that you build it into the whole structure. It's not tactical. It's not that you do it when you can. It must be there. It must be part of the learning. So when you say how strategy is how to get something, is how to extract learning from the participants, from the learners.
yes. Okay, thank you.
Okay. Other questions? No questions means very smart. If I give test, everyone will pass.
Okay, I has one question related to the one pillar is the belief, the mindset
Okay.
shift.
If I
The
cannot
mindset
answer
shift.
this, then Sham will answer. Belief and mindset shift.
Belief mindset shift is maybe it's very important for the training that the trainer want to mindset to shift the mindset of the trainee or the participant. In here, belief mindset shift, they use many techniques in order to mindset shift in here. So for the AL, it means that what technique that they use. like for the AL, like Mr. Guru Tommy Robinson that the walk on the fire is something like that. Is that they use the technique like that to shift the mindset of the person?
Okay. I will,
Yes.
Alex, would you like to help out with this one?
Sure, I can help
Yes, please.
with that. So when we talk about belief or mindset shift, it's more of when you teach something, you should be approaching it from a perspective where you don't want to just, okay, let me give you an example. Like, for example, I've got a training coming up about customer service. I don't want to teach my participant just about how to deliver better or higher quality customer service, but it's designed in a way where they walk away with the mindset where they are convinced that good customer service is important. So it creates an internal change and incentive within them to want to achieve that change. So it's a way of ensuring that even after the training is gone, you don't have to convince them any further, right? So to answer the
Yes.
question is how do we achieve that? It could be a lot of different things. This is where you talk about accelerated learning as a cycle. You think about whether that's best delivered in a question, in a thought-provoking statement, whether it's going to be a video, if it's something going to
Yes.
be impactful, it could be a sharing where you talk about some horrible stories of customer service, and then you say something where, well, if you have this experience, how does it feel if you now are the person giving that experience to somebody else? So you design the things that you want to say, how you want to say it to achieve that level of change at a belief level. So it can be
Yes.
something as boring as customer service, but they will never look at customer service the same way again after that. You get it?
Yes. Yes. Same.
Thank you,
Yes,
Alex.
thank you.
You're
Thank you,
welcome.
John,
Alex.
you want to add on to that?
Not really, but it has to come. It is like trying to change something that is currently negative in that person, and how you actually use your activities to move it to something positive, and it comes from them themselves. It's not something that you tell them. They have to like experience it through the activity itself.
So the way I understand it is when we say art culture, right, is overall. When we say belief mindset shift, is also overall. So when you plan the activities, you
Mm.
plan the activities to have art culture in it, and then does this activity help to shift the mindset? So when we say these are pillars, that means every activity must have each and every one of these pillars or some of these pillars so that it becomes an effective activity. What activities can you do? Like Alex says, is it a question? Is it, you go through a case study? Is it you do pros and cons to be able to get them to say, okay, now I understand why customer service should be done this way versus what I've been
Okay.
doing all this time. All right. Thank you for the question. Your
Yes, thank
questions
you.
help us to understand this better. Okay, other questions, guys? If there are no questions, I'm going to jump back to the next one. And this is what we call the cycle of AL. And I believe, Alex, if you're kind enough to help us with this, please jump in when you can. Yeah, stop me
Sure.
when you want to. So I'm going to go very quickly first, and then we'll restart. There are 6 phases in the AL cycle, which means that when a learner comes into the beginning of a cycle, one of the first few things that needs to be done is we as facilitators need to know enough about the learner. So in the old school way, we'll say we do a training needs analysis, right? Here we need to better understand what the learners need, who they are, what are some of the issues that they face, and then we talk to the client, what has already been done, what courses have they already gone for. So basically get as much as possible before you design your workshop. And then I'm gonna go back here. And then when we start the workshop, we need to prepare them to learn better. We need to prepare them to actually be ready to accept the learning. Then we come into the second phase, and if you think about it as time, right? Maybe this learner preparation, half of this starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. Oh, sorry, in Cambodia, 8 a.m. in the morning. Just so you guys know, Cambodians work 8 hours a day, right? We work 5 hours, we work 7 hours a day technically. They work 8 to 5. Then in the workshop itself, we create a connection to the learning. Yeah, connection to the learning. And then we come into the next phase, which is acquisition. Literally, they are learning the content that we want them to learn. And then they practice it. Make sure that they practice it at minimum. And this is what Yasmin told us. At minimum, test whether they remember certain things. But better still is hands-on. Give them a case study. Give them something to practice with. And then we do integration, which is before we let them go, we get them to debrief what they've learned. Okay, in most of us, what we do, we do a takeaway. You know, what are your takeaways for this course? Yeah, but integration is a lot deeper, is a lot more emotional than that. And then last but not least, back at work is what they call application. So they have to go back and actually do something, apply it. All right. So these are the 6 phases within the cycle. It cycles over again and again and again. And now I'm going to go back to 1, and I'm going to ask Sham or Alex or Dr. K to walk us through this from your own perspectives, in your own experience. Maybe I'll ask Alex, if you don't mind, to share, because you've been practicing this a lot more than us.
So learners preparation happens basically pre whatever you are trying to teach them, right? So it starts with getting your insights about the learners. So it could be insights whether you're doing sort of like a training needs analysis. You could be doing asking questions, what are the trainings they've done prior, what is it that they want to learn, things like that. That goes into before the training starts. Now, before the actual day of the training, you also want to find out where the participants are in terms of their mindset. So in other words, I always call this the phase where I get the learners buy-in. So it's not, and when I talk about buy-in, it's not just building rapport, but I tell them what they're going to gain from the session. So this is where, again, you're designing the impact in terms of achieving that kind of level of belief and change that you want. So I normally what I do is I collect a list of problems that they have in the workplace, and then I sort out in terms of grouping them. And then I tell them, okay, for this group of problems, fantastic, pay attention to this module. For this group of problem, fantastic, pay attention to module number 3. So this is what we call a Socratic method. So you answer whatever questions that they may have ahead of time. So before any learning actually happens, you already get their buy-in because they go, oh, okay. So at the end of the workshop, I'll be able to eliminate this problem that I have in the workplace. So they're interested in it. But now you also have their interests. So they're ready to sort of learn and absorb the new methodology or whatever framework that you're about to cover for them. So that's sort of the first phase before any learning actually happens. So you don't teach them about customer service, but you tell them, for example, if you have dealt with angry customers and they scream, no matter how much you apologize, no matter how much you smile and you say sorry, they still scream at you. So have you experienced this? Yes, good. So pay attention to module number 3. We'll talk about how to deal with specifically angry, hostile customers. So that is sort of like preparing them for the learning. So you don't actually teach them yet how to do it. Okay.
Thank you. Sham, anything you want to add for this?
Yeah, to add to that, the pre-work, and also when they come to the class itself, the preparation that you want, you need to prepare for them to feel welcome in the class, and what activities do you want to do to get them grounded or centered, as in for them to feel safe to kind of connect, because everyone is new to each other. We don't know each other. So how can we find out more about each other and feel that connection that we're all now in this class and we're ready for the next step. So that welcoming phase to make them feel, I'm ready to move on. And they're also sharing about themselves.
Yeah. And Alex has typed into the chat as well. This is something I forgot, which is the classroom or whatever the room is you are in, right, has to be prepped in such a way it makes it conducive for learning. Basically, if they step in the first impression they get is like, wow, this is different. So the belief or mindset shift starts already from there because you have decked out. If it's done in their office, even more fantastic because they don't recognize the office anymore. They don't recognize the classroom. So then what we do is we come into the second one, which is connection. And I want to share with you what we did. So Sham was saying that, we were given an activity where Yasmin asked us, what are the elements of a good learning, good learning? And we brainstorm. We put like must have stationery for creativity, and then snacks for energy. Must have food. Must have food. There must be appropriate music for activities, appropriate room layout, visual learning aids, artifacts, flip chart poster, colorful props that humanize learning. You can tell that was me. And then the pre-work set the intention, graphic framing, agenda, subject matter expertise, clear guidance, safe learning environment. Facilitator must be agile, variety tools. Now, this did not come from the teacher. This came from us. We brainstormed this. So when we brainstorm this, guess what? Then Yasmin will say, okay, good. I enjoyed all of this. Now let me show you what AL says. And AL says fable trip, facilitator, arts and culture, beliefs, learner-centric, right? So if you recognize that what's happened, we have accidentally allowed ourselves to be brainwashed, right? Because we have gone through this process, we brainstorm, and then she showed us, hey, we're right. So that gives me at least a bit of an ego trip, like, I knew the answers, but the answers are in a bit of a different form. And everybody who saw that, the whole class were like, oh, okay, cool, because there were 4 teams. I think, Sham, we were 4 teams or 3 teams? 3 teams, yeah? There were 3 teams, and between all 3 teams, we got the answers. Between all 3 teams, we managed to get the whole of Fable Trip. And that creates that buy-in that says, wow, I actually know something, right? So this is what we call the second phase, which is connection.
So to add to
Right.
that, connection is basically the tacit knowledge of what we already know. We're trying to
Yes.
bring it out. And then the next part is the aha. Oh yeah,
Ah.
I was right. That's why
So
the
why
connection.
when we do connection activities, and I think Alex is going to add on to this, we do connection activities for 2 reasons. Number one, we want to get from the learners what they already know about this subject, right? Bring it out because this is adult learning, right? They are adults. They come with their own knowledge, background information. They come with their own expertise. Let them shine. Let them share that. And the other reason is for them to get ready to accept what's coming, the learning that's coming. Alex, am I on the right track?
Yeah, you're on your right track. So it's
Okay.
not where actual learning or teaching takes place,
Yep.
but it's the sort of like that sort of like moment where you have like a realization. So you are doing that sort of mentally, you're making that logical leap.
Right.
So it's just like a connection phase is usually very short. It doesn't have to be a very detailed or very long activity, but it's just that moment where you say something, do something, prompt a question, a quick activity to make that go, I see. So that's basically connection.
And then they're ready to accept whatever comes, Lagan.
Exactly.
Okay. So whatever comes is now in the third phase, which is acquisition. And in most training, this is when we teach people. This is when we show them slides and we go through the slides and stuff like that. But in AL, the acquisition happens interactively. So we ask questions or we are asked questions, so we understand the material. And again, I don't know a lot about AL, whether Alex, guide me if I'm wrong, right? But I'm sure you need slides for certain things. But when we are given handouts, right? I don't know if you can see this. But when we're given handouts, and then Yasmin says, okay, study these handouts, discuss these handouts, and then answer these questions. She doesn't actually teach it to us. We are reading off the handouts that she gives us, and then we learn it for ourselves, and then we have a discussion. And then between the three teams teach each other. That was my experience. Alex?
Yeah, true. So there's not actually any actual teaching that happens. So I know like trainers like to start off by talking about, let me give you the definition of this, let me give you the definition of that, and then you go on the tangent of reading the slides. So AL eliminates a lot of that portion of theory-based things, and you give it in a form of handouts instead. So for me, I do a lot of that. So like my scripts, my notes, my definitions are all in handouts, and then they can read on their own. Because if it's the same thing, it's theory. Yeah? It's either you read it or I read it for you.
Sham, what about you? What's your take on that?
I mean, it was initially I was also quite stuck with this at this phase, but what I understand is how you want to give out that knowledge that you want them to learn, and how you can make it interesting for them to actually be able to learn and discover, not so much to listen, but to discover from themselves. So when Yasmin asks us to read, and then we share from what we have read, I think it's more of a discovery rather than I'm just listening. Because if she just teaches on the slide or something like that, it will not actually go into my head. You will just like hear, but you're not listening, So we have to turn it into using AL to see how the learner can actually discover and appreciate the new knowledge that they are learning.
The keyword
yeah.
that Sham said was correct, was discover. Let me show you what we had to struggle with. So Yasmin gave us these cards, which had all 6 of the AL cycle, right? Phases. And she gave cards with descriptions. We had to do 2 things. We had to decide which comes first, which goes last out of the 6, and then which description goes for which one. And it was exciting and scary because which of the teams got it right, which of the teams got it wrong, right? And sometimes we were even cheating when she said something, we moved the cards around.
Do you
But
think
it
we
was
got it all
always
right?
it was always active. There was no moment where Yasmin was teaching, but we were not doing anything. So even when she was saying, okay, so the first phase is learner preparation, and we were like, woo! And then she goes, okay, what's the description? Oh, we got it wrong. It was always, when in traditional training, when the trainer is talking, the learners are sitting and listening, yeah? That wasn't the case. We were always on. Both of us, the facilitator and the learners, were always on. And I appreciate it very much. I appreciated being given the opportunity to be right and wrong. But she never said we were wrong, right? She said, okay, so for the second phase is connection, therefore it must be like this, like this, like this. So again, no slides. No slides for the whole 2 days, the whole 3 days. Okay, let's come back. We're almost there. So what's the next phase, Sham?
Practicum.
Practicum. So practicum is basically doing it lah. Sham, what was your experience with this? What did you like about
It's
this?
like how did you know acquisition went well? You have to go to your next level practicum. It's
How
like
do
trying to
you
recall or test.
yeah. How do you know that? What was the word you used? How did you know the acquisition went well?
Acquisition phase went well.
I wish I could show it, but I don't have the picture lah, alamak.
But you can show the one that we did, the 6. Just now earlier you showed.
Yeah, this
Yeah.
one. No, I want to show the last one, which is the picture of the mountain, but that's okay. I'll show this again. So guys, if you're fed up of me showing this, it's only because I'm proud of it. So this is like Inception. If you watch the movie Inception, this is practicum of the practicum. So she got us to do this. Okay, so now you understand the 6 phases. What you're going to do is you're going to plan at least one activity for every phase. So we got together. We were a team of 3 and 4. We did learner prep. What was this topic? No, it wasn't one topic. We could do it for any different topics. So imagine 6 different activities for 6 different topics. The first one is the name game, where we get the learners to get used to the learning. Then connection is what do you know? This particular topic was about the brain. And then acquisition, we use a process puzzle. This is Shams lah. Sham is an event manager. She teaches event management. So she said, here are the different phases of event management. You arrange it. So those post-it notes are the cards. And then for brain, got brain, label the different parts of the brain. And then for integration, which is before you leave, tell us what you understand. So we do a stick-to-stick activity. I won't explain that one. But my favorite is this last one. Application. Let me see if I can zoom in here. It's called Teach Your Boss a Lesson. So you go back to work, you have to prepare a simple slide deck or a graphic summarizing, no text, what you learned in the training. Schedule a 30-minute meeting with your line manager. Teach your boss what you learned confidently. Record and upload what you did and upload to WhatsApp. And what's the last one? No, I don't remember.
It's a next step worksheet.
Oh, next step.
Yeah, you have to work out after this whole session, what are next steps you would apply back at work, and you have to sit down with your supervisor to go through and the date to review.
Yes.
So it's like a next step. Nasreen, I sent you the image, the picture of the last assignment that we did, if you want to show that.
Just because we want to show it, huh?
You wanted to show that, right?
I want to show it. Yeah, but it's an image of us. My God. Okay, let's just show it.
But you can expand on
that's how proud we were. Let's see if we can zoom in a little bit. It looks terrible though. So this is us going through the 6 phases, and the ones in the middle, I don't know if you can see on the river, those are Fable Trip. That's Fable Trip. So we had to plan for 6 phases I can't remember what this topic was about.
It's a leadership training program.
Leadership training, yeah. Leadership training, and then make sure that we apply as much of Fable Trip as possible. Alex, would you like to share some of how you apply practicum?
Practicum is just hands-on learning. So this is where you get them to learn and read a case study, and then after that have the discussion, and then present back what they've learned, for example, or do a presentation, write something on a mahjong paper. But there's got to be some level of hands-on learning where they're sort of doing something actively. So it's not just verbal, but there's usually some kind of like writing involved on a flip chart.
It's basically what Sham said, to see whether the acquisition stuck.
Yes, exactly. So it could be like, I think there's a lot of words for it. Some people call it like teach back method, presentation, group discussion, and then sharing. So it's basically all that.
Okay. I'm going to jump on you, Alex, and ask you to help me with this one, because I think I understand it, but I really want to hear it again from an AL perspective. I'm sure you've seen other trainers do this. At minimum, like, what is your key takeaway from today? But from your perspective, how does AL do this better, this integration aspect, before we let them go?
Integration is a very interesting one, right? It's basically where everything comes together, and they understand basically the flow, the meaning. So for example, if you're teaching customer service in parts, right? So you're teaching them the importance of, let's say, active listening and empathy, respect. You're talking about like how to develop a script, for example. You talk about anger management and things like that. So integration is where every domino falls into place. They understand, like, for example, okay, to be a good customer service representative, these are the things I need to be, this is the things I need to do, and therefore if I be this, I do this, I get this, and these are the results I expect to see. So integration is sort of like a mental process where the domino like falls and then it clicks into place and they go, finally, oh, no wonder like that. So that's sort of the reaction that you get in integration phase.
Thank you. I did this during my session with Accenture a couple of days ago. Again, it was not like, what's your key takeaways? They were very deep sharings. All I said was pick a card that represents how you feel right now, and they really took time to choose a card. I don't know how to describe it lah. I'll just say that the level of debrief or the level of insights I got on Tuesday was very different from what I got previously. Not to say that I did a good job, but I think when I started implementing this intentionally rather than just, oh, okay, we have to wrap up now, so let's do some takeaways. I gave them time, I gave them space, and the quality was very, very different. Sham, what's your view on this? What do you feel?
From the class itself, the reflection was the activity that was we went through for reflection. We also had the card, the magic card, remember?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, and
And the
then
stones, and the stones.
yeah, and the stones, yeah, and then how we had to relate to what we have gone through the last 3 days. So that made us think and really reflect what we've gone through. Because I compare to a normal training where I say, okay, let's do a debrief, what went well, what can be better, where we don't think so in depth when it comes to that. So I think so. Using AL helps to reflect a lot.
And also, we learned from each other during
Mm.
those integration sessions, right?
Yeah.
Because the perspectives that they gave were like, wow, very different. So after the integration session, I just go to my notebook and write the stuff down. All right, last one, guys, for tonight is application. And application usually, Alex, correct me if I'm wrong, happens after the workshop, after learning, after the class, where they have to go back to work and they apply. Is that right, Alex?
Usually, yes.
Mm.
You can sort of let them go with some kind of like actionable steps, or you can do what do I have to commit to doing after this? So they have like a certain level of commitment lah. How they're gonna apply some of the changes that they've planned to make. Unless it's something that you can do in class. Like for
Mm.
example, you can actually have a session where you design, okay, now I want you to apply this to the work scenario. So majority of the activities I don't use hypothetical situations. So I use actual situations, actual problems that my clients have. So when we talk about application, they already walk away with sort of a partial solution in hand already.
Cool. Thank you very much. I learned something tonight. So if, for example, and this assumes that you guys don't have a program, like you don't have coaching after the workshop, or you don't have catch up or check-ins after that. That means end to end, day one, day two, you're done, right? You leave them. But the application is for them to have that commitment to what they're going to do next. All right. So that's all from me. Sham, would you like to share anything else before we ask open for questions? All good. Dr. K, anything you'd like to add on?
If I may add,
Yes, please.
often we use for AL, we use cards, symbols, drawings to draw the answers from the participants. For instance, instead of asking how do you feel this morning, that's a direct code. They will say joy, happy or stressed out. Give them cards with pictures or symbols, and they pick a card and say, a picture of a card it shows sunrise. Then they explain why do they choose that card to say how did they feel this morning. So a lot of use like instead of using words, use symbols and pictures, even draw things, draw how you feel or what you learned, things like that.
I would say that there was a lot of movement, there was a lot of holding things versus just looking and listening. So
Yeah.
I really appreciated that. Thank you very much. So we open for questions. Who would like to ask anything? And hopefully we can answer them. 5, 4, 3, 2.
I have a question.
Yes,
Sorry.
please.
Can you tell
Yeah.
me more about playfulness? This is Gina here.
Hi, Gina.
Mm-mm.
So playfulness, from my perspective, from what I went through, is we were allowed to experiment. We were allowed to, just enjoy ourselves. It was a very safe space. So they created a space where we could we could try answers. And I think that's where the arts and crafts comes in as well. Not from an academic perspective, like, oh, this is what AL is. I experienced playfulness because I had a bit of stress. I was the only flower there. Everybody else was kumbang. For some reason, I popped up like, hey, how come I'm the only guy here? But the way Yasmin set up the classroom and the way she managed all of us, I felt like one of the girls. So I don't know if that's the answer you're looking for. But it helped. It helped a lot.
It looks like, I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong. So far, it sounds like we need a lot of props, you know what I mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a
Yeah.
lot of effort because it's not trainer-centric, it's learner-centric.
Yeah.
So if it's
And
trainer-centric, I don't want to carry a big heavy bag. But because
mm,
it's learner-centric, I want to carry a heavy bag.
yeah, that's basically
Yeah.
I know you're very okay with all that. That's your style. But it's quite a challenge, right? I mean, I have to
It is.
be
It is.
honest, quite a challenge to be carrying a lot of stuff. Yeah.
One of the
Especially
insights
when
I
you're
got,
alone. Yeah.
agreed. One of the insights I
Especially for
got,
us.
well, to be fair, you don't have to carry a lot of stuff. I mean, flip chart, if you think about it, it's very few lah. You don't have to carry posters. If you come early enough, you can draw those posters. Eventually, they will, from the stuff that they draw, become the posters anyway. So if there's anything, I would say tablecloth, cards, and we're talking about physical stuff, right? And handouts.
I think all the drawing materials.
Yeah, drawing material can request client to prepare solo.
Yeah, but if you want like, they might just give you like a bit. But if you want like,
They'll give you like dumb markers, can yeah. So six sets of markers for 6 teams. I would say maximum 3 kilos, 4 kilos maybe. Don't look at Nazrin lah. Nazrin crazy. I will bring everything just in case I need it. Don't do like me. But yes, I agree.
Can I share a quote that I've written down next to playfulness? People don't stop playing because they grow old. They grow old because they stop playing.
Did
I
you
wrote
target
down, so I
that
just
to
want to share.
me? I hope not. Thank you for the question, Gina. Anybody else? We've taken
Can I
20
just
minutes of your
add
time now.
something? Sorry, Gina, I just want to add something. This actually comes also from my experience, as an MC, as a professional MC, right? Whenever I do, especially dinner shows and whatever, and they always want me to do party games and whatever, right? I'm very clever. I ask client to give things. I make sure, okay, I need this. Can you prepare this? Very seriously minta diorang benda-benda ni, and they do it for me. So I just come very pretty and I don't need to carry anything. So I've been doing that for years. For 40 years, I've been doing that. I ask them to prepare the gifts. I ask them to prepare everything for me now. So when I do my training, I do that with my clients. I will tell my clients, I need this, I need 6 sets of this, I need 6 sets. And they do, they give you, they prepare. When I come to the room, it's all there on the table. I'm very happy.
I like.
So
yes.
Sometimes you can. I mean, just exercise that and they don't know that we are supposed to bring it. They don't know that, right? So but you kind of like impose it on them, since you have it here. Would you happen to have I always say, would you happen to have this and they say, oh yeah, we have. Oh great, can I have like 10 of those, that kind of thing. So so brilliant. Many times I walk into the room, it's all prepared for me already. You don't need to bring.
I think Juwita needs to do a would you happen to have workshop?
Yes. Yeah, I get them to print stuff for me, and they do. I get them to print pictures and ask them to put on cards and laminate. They do for me. I love them so much.
Because it's you. You have to teach us how to do that lah. Okay, guys, it is 22 minutes after our promised time. Any other questions before we let you go? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I'm gonna let Alex get the last word if she wants it. What would you recommend to trainers and instructors and learning facilitators for AL since you've practiced it a lot.
Who did you ask? Me?
Yes, I asked my Sifu, my senior lah.
Give it a try. Like I understood how powerful it was, but it didn't take me. It wasn't instantaneous in terms of application. It was a very slow change. But once it's in you, you can do it automatically. But if you go for the entire certification and you do the capstone project, then you will understand how complex designing using AL actually is, because you're required to write down almost word for word for everything that you say, everything that you do. There's got to be a purpose for it.
Mm-hmm.
And Alex is far better informed than us because she has actually completed it. We only just took the 3-day thing. She went through, what was it, a 20-day program? Is that right?
Actually, Yasmin and Joara are my classmates. I've been practicing that for as long as I have.
So how long was your program?
6 months or 12 months? 12 months, I think, a year.
12 months, eh?
Wow.
But Yasmin has now put it into 3 months worth. Is that so?
Yeah, because we took it with originally Gail Heinehem. So we share the same Sifu lah. So she flew down from the US to conduct the classes. So that's why it was spaced out. So it wasn't as regular.
I see. Okay. But that give you time to breathe lah.
In a way, we had like pretty intensive homework lah. Like I think the files that you guys get was like you guys get is like nothing compared to the ones that we had. That was definitely an overload.
No, tak boleh because tak boleh kira because we did a 3-day certificate, not certification.
We can compare your
This is a
3 days and my 2 days. We had a starter as well, AL starter. You can compare the 2-day starter versus this 3 days. You can tengok lagi banyak.
Alright, nanti kita tengok. Kita kena ajak Alex, take her somewhere and then we just sit with her.
Boleh.
Thank you very much,
last thing
guys.
Last.
Yes,
Can
yes.
you okay, like sorry, when you first posted about this that like a few weeks ago that you all are going for this course, and I actually just searched around and there's so many books about AL. Maybe Nazrin and maybe especially Alex and Dr. Hairul, would you recommend what other books they are apart from the one that Nazrin is referring to right now, or no need to bother, just go with this one? You know what I mean?
I think Nazrin, what she said earlier is really valid. AL you can read in theory, but it just doesn't make sense. You need to experience it.
Faham.
So
But is it
go
okay
for any of the classes or even attend any of our trainings, and you can actually see the difference. Then what you learn on theory, in theory, will make a lot more sense. Because when we took the 1-year course, a lot of it was not taught in terms of how we design the session. A lot of it was see, observe, feel. And that's a very large part of AL.
You learn from osmosis.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. I will say this because the book that we showed was just sort of like a placeholder. That book doesn't actually match what we learned because that book only has 4 stages instead of 6. So there's a lot of, if you want to it's good to have foundations, but then to experience it is a lot better.
Absolutely. So
Thank you for
what
the
I'm
question.
saying is if you all can recommend tak payahlah banyak-banyak, 1 or 2, bukannya nak baca semua pun. Taklah rajin sangat. But what are the gooder books that we can read?
I'll send you photos.
If you can share in the group.
Oh, wait.
There were some books that
There were some books, kan?
yeah, Yasmin recommended.
Share in the group lah nanti.
Yeah.
Just share in the group.
I don't know. I'll show it to you right now because and they're not accelerated learning books. That's the thing. They're not AL books because AL is sourced from so many different things, right? And I will need for you right now, guys, to move your head to the side like that, okay? So that you can see this.
Whose head is that?
Yep.
Left or right?
That's part of AL. It's kinesthetic movement.
Oh, okay.
But Yasmin did say this one made to stick is especially useful.
Mhm.
So she said go for that one first. So I will say yes. I will look for that as well. There's a quantum learning. There is on becoming a person. This one, Carl Rogers, which she says informed her quite a bit, and experiential learning, of course, lah. But she said made to stick. This one go first. Go look at this one first. Does that answer your question?
Yep, thank you.
Okay.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was a good question because then I just remember I took that photo. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for your time. I would love to see you again face to face. It's just been such a long time. I miss you all. I'll be in Cambodia in about a couple of weeks' time, so I'll check you guys out as well. Have a good night, everyone, and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bye-bye, everyone.
Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Nazrin.
Thank you
Goodbye.
so
Thank you.
much.
Good
Thank you,
night.
everybody.
Thank you.
Bye.